Hi guys. Today we're going to learn about sexual reproduction. So far we've only really talked about mitosis. Now we're going to introduce something called meiosis. So to start today, sexual reproduction, just as a review, what would be asexual reproduction? So you took this the other day, of course, and this would be producing offspring from one parent. Okay, so you can write that in there, producing. Ooh, that's really ugly, but you know what I mean. Producing offspring from one parent. So when things are produced through asexual reproduction, they are clones, right? There's no genetic variation at all. Now, humans we don't go through asexual reproduction. Sometimes people will think that asexual reproduction is masturbation. That's not true. Asexual reproduction is producing clones, right? So humans, we don't produce clones. We use something called sexual reproduction. And this is what we use to produce our offspring. So if you look here, we've got the egg and we've got the sperm. They come together to fertilize, and then that results in the embryo. So this is how we get the propagation of the human race. Now, in general, less complex organisms produce offspring by asexual reproduction, while more complex organisms produce offspring by sexual reproduction. So the more complex a species is or an organism is, the more likely it would have been produced through sexual reproduction. Now, we're going to take some notes now. So sexual reproduction is the formation of a new cell from two different parent cells. So we're talking about the sperm and the egg here, the ova. Again, things in red you can write down here. So the new cell is genetically different than the parent. So it is not the same. You are not a clone of your parents. You are genetically different, though you have things in common with them. Oops. So the new cell is genetically different than the parents. Now, the DNA in the new cell is different than the parent cell DNA. And so why would that be? So again, this is a really good schematic of DNA. So we've got our base pairs here. Hopefully you know for sure that G is always with C, T is always with A. We've got our DNA that coils in this double helix shape. And so millions and millions of DNA go into, that's just one little part of a chromosome here. So that's just one little section on that particular chromosome, which is found in the nucleus of the cell. So why is DNA different in every individual? Why are they different from the parent? Because the genetic information is combined from two different parents. So this leads to a new genetic code for the offspring. So this is what gives us our variations. This is our biodiversity. This is why we have variation between members of the same species. So all humans, we're all part of the same species. We have variation because we have different parents, right? So two parents, and this leads to a whole bunch of different variation and characteristics. Okay, so this is the reason why we look different than our parents and our siblings. Produces unique, non-identical individuals. I like this picture because it's people with obviously very different skin tones, and then you can really see, she's fair and he's got darker skin, and then if you look at the children, they all have different shades of skin. So it really shows the variation in the genetics there and how their genetic code is all different. Now there is one example of a person who does not have unique DNA. Any guesses? Yeah, identical twins. So not fraternal. Fraternal twins are no more related to each other than any other brother and sister. But identical twins, they have identical DNA. So they are the one exception to this. Now, we have 46 chromosomes in each cell of our body, and we've talked about that before. I had a diagram up before that showed the 23 pairs. The only cells in our body that do not have 46 chromosomes are what's called the gametes. So gametes are the sperm and the egg, and they're a little different. But each of the 23 pairs of chromosomes has the same information, and we call them homologous pairs. So make sure you remember that word there, homologous pairs. Now, gametes. So this is our sperm up here. This is the egg here. These are specialized sex cells. They're produced in the in females, they're produced in the ovaries, and in males, they're in the testes. Another word for testes is what? Yeah, testicles. So sperm and egg cells. So these would be examples of gametes. So knowing that they're gametes, how many chromosomes do they have? Yeah, 23. So gametes have only 23 chromosomes. They contain only half of the genetic information, so that when they combine to form a fertilized egg, they make a new cell with a total of 46 chromosomes. So we have the sperm and the egg. So the sperm has 23, the egg has 23, and that's where we get our 46 chromosomes from. Okay. Now, gametes are produced through a process called meiosis. So normal cell division is mitosis. So that is all the cells in our body undergo mitosis, except for, a few nerve and brain cells. But gametes are the only ones that are going to form or reproduce through a process called meiosis. Now, meiosis. Oh, we're going to draw a diagram. No, hold on. Oh yeah, we're going to copy these down here. Okay, so meiosis is another form of cell division, but it's only used in sexual reproduction. So this is only used for gametes, nothing else, okay? Creates gametes with 23 chromosomes in each cell. So that is meiosis. Now, meiosis ensures that each gamete has a different combination of chromosomes that were present before meiosis. So because it only has half the genetic information, it's always a different version of like no two gametes are going to be exactly the same. The nuclei of the new individual is not identical to the parents. So through the process of meiosis, that cell is never going to be identical to the original cell, the parent cell, so the male or the female cell. Now we're gonna draw a meiosis diagram here. So how this works, you're gonna have a cell that starts off with 46 chromosomes. So this is a cell in the ovaries or testes. Now, what's going to happen is the DNA copies. So the DNA is going to copy. So now we're going to have a cell here with 92 chromosomes in it. What happens now is the cell divides. Cell divides into two. And so now, because it's dividing into two, we had 92 here, so now each of these is going to end up with 46 chromosomes. Now, if we were in mitosis, this would be where we would stop. But this is meiosis, so what happens again, the cell undergoes division again, the cell divides again, and each one of these divides to make 23 chromosomes in each of these. Now, these ones are called daughter cells. So we've got 4 new daughter cells. So 4 new daughter cells, that's DAUGHTER. Sorry, the pen is kind of hard to write with. Now, in the ovaries, 1 out of 4 survive. And in the testes, all survive. So when in a female reproductive system, in a human, the cell will will duplicate, will copy once, and then it will divide twice to make 4 ovum or 4 eggs, but only one of those out of the 4 is going to survive. So it's like you can take the 3 off. But then in testes, all 4 of them survive. So sperm cells, you're going to get all of them there. One possible reason for this is you need a whole lot more sperm to get to the 1 egg, but we'll talk more about that later too. Okay, now the next section in your notes here is to compare mitosis to meiosis side by side. So I'm just going to get you to copy down this diagram so you can pause it here. So again, you're going to look at the numbers here. So mitosis, we're at 46, 92, and then you get 46 again in each of these. Here, 46, 92 divides to make 46 in each of those, and then divides again for 23 chromosomes in each of the gametes. So again, pause the video and copy that diagram down into your notes there. Okay, so I'm not actually going to give you an assignment for this lesson, but I do want you to watch 2 other videos. So I'm going to get you to watch the chromosome division by the Amoeba sisters, so I'll post that. And then also there's another DNA video that I just want to make sure that you fully understand the DNA stuff. So your assignment for tonight for today is to watch the 2 different videos here. And then no textbook assignment, but we'll go through something on Wednesday where I'll give you a textbook assignment. Okay, that's it for me. Have a